Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning. We are really excited for this event. My name is Esther Jean-Marie. I am a program officer with LIST Connecticut, focusing on our development and communication efforts. Today, I am here to just provide logistical support. So please feel free to send me a private chat if you're having any technological challenges. Also, I'll be taking the questions for the Q&A portion of our event. So if you have any questions for our speakers, please feel free to also send me a chat. Now let's get started with our event.
Thank you, Esther. Good morning, and thank you for joining LIST Connecticut today to learn more about the Financial Opportunity Center Network. I'm Jim Horan, Executive Director of LIST Connecticut. We're thrilled that you're able to join us today for this virtual open house on the FOCs. For more than 40 years, LISC, the Local Initiative Support Corporation, the nation's largest community development financial institution, has been at the forefront of community development, helping to create thriving communities of opportunity for the residents who call these places home. LISC launched our program office in Hartford in 1984. It's one of 38 offices across the country. Since 1984, we've invested $94 million in communities across the state, helping to create almost 5,000 units of affordable housing during that time. One of the ways that LISC builds thriving communities is through our innovative Financial Opportunity Center program, which we started in Connecticut in the fall of 2020. Over the course of the next 40 minutes or so, you will learn more about the Financial Opportunity Center Network from Program Officer Christina Della Ventura, from our National Director of Workforce Innovations at LISC, Kathryn Kerk, as well as Michelle Condarino, who is the Executive Director of Open Doors in Norwalk, one of 6 financial opportunity centers in Connecticut, and several of the financial coaches at FOCs in the state. Finally, we will hear from Megan Wright from the Lincoln Financial Foundation, which is one of the supporters of this critical work in our state. First up, I'm pleased to introduce Kathryn Kerk, Director of Workforce Innovations. Kathryn?
Thanks, Jim, and good morning, everyone. My name is Kathryn Kerk, and I'm Director of Workforce Innovations at LISC and co-director of LISC's National Family Income and Wealth Building Program, which works with our colleagues in Connecticut LISC as well as LISC field offices across the country on their Financial Opportunity Center programming. I'm honored to be here this morning to celebrate the community impact and the success of the Connecticut FOC network, and also get energized and inspired for the exciting work ahead of us in 2022 and beyond. True to LISC's name, local communities are at the heart of what we do, and our Financial Opportunity Center work actually began in Chicago over 15 years ago in response to a stark reality that LISC's community-based workforce development partners were experiencing, which was that too often employment services and jobs alone were not enough to address financial insecurity in a meaningful and sustainable way. By integrating the delivery of 3 core services, employment services, financial coaching, and income supports access, the FOC model helps community members not only connect to jobs, but also advance in those jobs, increase their net income, connect to mainstream fairly priced financial products, and build credit, savings, and assets. Since those early days in Chicago, the FOC network has expanded to over 31 cities and regions across the country, including Connecticut. And in addition to the everyday successes that you see with your community members in your work, what's also very powerful to me is that each of your organizations is part of a national network of 130 FOC partners spanning coast to coast across the country, encompassing community-based organizations, urban and rural, large and small, longstanding FOC partners, and newcomers. Collectively, these organizations served 25,000 neighborhood residents in 2021. And over the years, we've also learned a great deal from our partners, and we've used these lessons to continue to evolve and grow the FOC model. For example, increasing our focus on credit building some years back, and more recently supporting FOCs to embed more digital skilling, coaching, and navigation services into the model. At this moment in time, our FOC work is probably more important than it's ever been as we all emerge from over 2 years of a global pandemic, a tumultuous economy, and a very different labor market than when we first started this work over 15 years ago. As we look ahead, some of the things that we're excited about nationally are opportunities to increase our digital literacy and digital skilling work within the network, to support our partners to build more career pathways, build programming to take people further along those career pathways, and connect to registered apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship programs and other types of training and credentialing opportunities that will lead to quality jobs. We're also very excited to be expanding our financial product strategy to really meet the diverse needs of participants across the FOC network and whatever someone's financial goals may be. With that said, again, thank you for allowing me to join you this morning, and I'm going to turn the floor over to Christina to talk a little bit more about the Connecticut Financial Opportunity Center work. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathryn. Hi, my name is Christina Della Ventura, and I'm a program officer here at LISC Connecticut. I joined LISC back in March of 2021, about 6 months after the Financial Opportunity Center launched in the fall of 2020. The Connecticut Financial Opportunity Center network now has 6 sites across 5 geographies, including Hartford, New Britain, New Haven, Norwalk, and Waterbury. You'll get to hear from some of these sites and their coaches later on today. In the first year of operations, the Connecticut network served over 2,200 individuals and families with low to moderate incomes. This includes those most impacted by the pandemic, people of color, women, and low-wage workers. The Financial Opportunity Center model acknowledges that more than a job is needed in order for individuals and families to achieve financial stability. Nationally, Financial Opportunity Center clients are more likely to be employed year-round, reduce non-asset-related debt, and improve their credit histories. In its first year of operations, the network also placed over 200 clients in jobs across a variety of sectors, including healthcare, manufacturing, transportation, and education. The average starting wages of these jobs was $16.24 an hour. As Kathryn mentioned, the heart of this model is coaching. The coaching approach means coaches partnering up with clients to develop solutions. This model is not only transformative to the individuals and families and communities that it serves, but also transformative to the organizations themselves. The model involves integrated service delivery, where coaches not only partner up with their clients, but they also partner up with each other to help clients achieve their goals. This has a long-term impact on the service delivery models of organizations, and this is a key part of the work that LISC is involved in. Today, you're going to hear from some of these coaches across our sites, as well as Michelle Condarino, the Executive Director of Open Doors, who's up next. So I'm going to pass it on to Michelle.
Thank you, Christina. Hello, everybody. My name is Michelle Condarino. I'm the Executive Director of Open Doors in Norwalk. If you're unfamiliar with us, we have been primarily known as a homeless and housing service organization. We've been in existence since 1983. We have served people experiencing or transitioning out of homelessness and are very committed to ending homelessness in the greater Norwalk area. So over the last few years, we really started to explore opportunities for homeless prevention, recognizing that the best way to end homelessness is to stop it from happening to begin with. So in October of 2020, we began speaking with LISC about opening a financial opportunity center here at our Smilo Life Center. The FOC launched at the very end of 2020, but fully staffed early in 2021. In the first year that we were open, we served a significant amount of people. I think 338 community members were served by the program. While some of the participants are experiencing homelessness, the majority are people living in the community who are really struggling with housing stability based on the high cost of living in Fairfield County. We did bring on full-time staff, and we have a staff member for each of the 3 core services of the FOC model. Our income benefits, I think, was really focused on rent relief and utility relief applications, helping people who were back in rent and in utilities so that they could remain in their housing. Our employment services were very active. We actually employed close to 100 people in the first year. And our financial services were very well utilized as well. It really brought a very interesting aspect to our organization. Again, as I said, we have been primarily known as the homeless shelter and homeless service. And so suddenly the community started to see us as a much more dynamic organization, and that we were really providing a lot of service, not only to those experiencing homelessness, but to the greater community, and really helping with the economic recovery from COVID. For this next year, we have some really exciting plans for what we want to do. We did launch a savings match program in January, and we'll continue to serve people through that program over the entire year. We are looking to expand our employment placement program because we've had such success with building strong relationships with employers that need significant amount of employees. Amazon being one, our local hospital being another. And we're also looking to expand into more workforce development opportunities as well. So how can we get people into certification programs or even job opportunities that have real career trajectory, and not just into positions in which people may be making, you know, an okay wage, but have like a potential for further growth. We're really excited and proud to operate our Financial Opportunity Center. Again, it has brought tremendous value to this community, to us as an agency. The staff who work in that program, Eddie, who I think you'll be hearing from a little bit later, have really connected to people. And the most amount of people coming into the program are coming because they know somebody else who got services through us. So we haven't had to do a tremendous amount of publication about the program because the word of mouth is so strong. So I hope you know, people enjoyed this open house. I know we're very proud to be part of LISC. And now I'm going to turn it over to Danira from the Village for Families and Children. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Hello, my name is Danira Martel, and I work at the Village for Families and Children. At the Village, we are primarily known for behavioral and mental health services. Our FOC supports families in addressing one of the biggest stressors that impacts overall health, and that is financial health. We serve the greater Hartford community, and our referrals are both internal and external. Our clients represent a broad range of household compositions, but are predominantly female, are low to moderate income, and fall within the ages of 25 to 54. My role as an income support specialist is to be the first point of contact for our clients. So it's extremely important for me to help establish a good relationship from the very beginning, as well as set expectations for the program. My job is to reach out, schedule their initial intake, and get to know more about their goals and current financial situation. I also screen for benefits, answer their eligibility questions, and offer guidance for the application process. What I love about my job is the ability to provide guidance to those who feel lost and stuck in their current situation, to help them start their financial journey and empower them by providing the necessary tools they need to succeed. The organization had just transitioned to an FOC when I came aboard, so I was able to be part of the new process and the initial workflow. We take a plan, do, and assess approach to our work, which provides the opportunity to evolve our processes as needed. I tried to participate in every training made available to me. In the beginning, I watched every webinar multiple times just so that I would be able to fully understand the functions of Salesforce, the workflow, and the processes that our clients would go through. This and the Practice Salesforce page were extremely helpful because I was able to gain a better understanding of the overall process from intake to coaching. The use of Salesforce to track client outcomes is very useful because we can see the progress that our clients make, the months where they encountered obstacles, And also just reading the case record notes. It's almost like reading a journal about their journey. And not just financial, but also the bigger little improvements in their lives that they share with us.
Thank you, Danera. Now, please let us hear from Eddie from Open Doors.
Hello, my name is Eddie Ajman, and I'm the financial coach here at Open Doors. As a financial coach here, I really help people with credit, budgeting, decreasing their debt, taxes, etc. And the most common one that people come in for me to really get help with is pretty much decreasing their debt. And that's really important because debt can really be strainful and stressful on a lot of people's heads, and we want to make sure that there's a way we can actually get rid of it. So I really make sure to put down a plan, so forth, to where, whether that be in their budget, to see how much their expenses are compared to income, to see if there's some leeway where we can put extra money towards debt and pay it down even faster, or even talk to lenders to see how we can get some debt pay down plans, or see if we can even settle on some debt to make sure we can get rid of it once and for all. I know a client that came in to me and just really stressed in the head to see how can they really take out this debt, how can they really get better in life, just because that's really something that's just holding and just bearing them down. And I'm just make sure to calm down the client, just tell them that there's always patience, and just when you make that plan and follow it and be consistent, there's always some hope at the end. So that's what we did. We made that plan, and I looked through and seen that the budget was out of order. There was a lot of wanted expenses that he didn't really need. We got rid of that, or pretty much minimized it to a point to where he could still enjoy life, still take down debt, because there's always got to be that balance. And when that happened, he's seen his cash flow go even more up. He started to understand that, hey, I could put extra money towards my debt and pay that down. And when that happened, boom, that was key. So we're on a plan right now. It was around, I believe, a high number debt around $65,000, and he's on path to take that down in 2 years. But slow and steady wins a race, and he made sure to have small goals to not procrastinate the end, to where he can hit that big goal at the end, where it's to take down that $65,000. So I'm really proud of him for that. And how our FOC works is pretty much to where we have the income support specialist, Maria Davis, who also does the intake. She does a phenomenal job helping clients achieve their goals through government benefits as well. So when the client comes in, they pretty much meet with Maria Davis first, and she does the intake. She gets the small details, just important details that we need from a regular person in there. And when that happens, she pretty much gets what they really want out of the FOC. And just income support benefits, boom, they start with Maria Davis to see what type of government benefits that they can apply for. Now, if they want a job, they go to Josh Brown, who's been so excellent getting people jobs, and he really goes into detail of what do they want out of a job, where do you want to be at, etc. And if they want financial coaching, that's where they come to me, and I help them with finances, financial coaching, and pretty much what I explained before. So it's really a rotating circle, and that's how we really get a client going and help them overall. And being part of the LIST CT FOC network has been a real blessing for us, because it's really helped us have sort of a structure that we can lay off of. We have the income support specialist role, the employment specialist role, and also the financial coaching role. And with those three roles, they kind of intertwine and join together to create a great synergy, to where even if a client need to go somewhere else, instead of just income support, they go to a different route and still become successful in a way, because it's all about helping that client at the end and being in a real good flow. And to really make sure we have that sense of flow in general, we make sure that we share information in Salesforce and even through email, just to make sure that when we meet a client that someone else has met with, we're not unaware of what information has been passed along or what they've been given, so we're kind of up to date. So now I'm going to pass it on to Zainab from Community Action Agency of New Haven.
Thank you, Eddie. Hello, everyone. My name is Zainab. I'm the income support specialist for the FOC at the Community Action Agency New Haven. At the Community Action Agency, we have several programs, one being the FOC, and within our FOC, we target single mothers and then individuals and families who were impacted by COVID. So a single day as an income support specialist, if I have client appointments, usually that takes an hour or two. I'll help them apply for programs. We'll complete the intake. If I'm not having an appointment that day, it's either getting ready for an appointment or entering case notes for another appointment or entering the data into Salesforce or Captain, which is what we use within our organization. Along with that, we have, team meetings and just other things that come up on a daily basis. And a great part of working at the Community Action with the FOC is there's other programs, but we're able to share resources, ask our coworkers questions, and it's a teamwork, so that's really nice. And a client success story that comes up to my mind when I think of our FOC is, I'll just call him Client A. So the client came into the agency, and when he came in, he was living at a sober house. He has a really good background, educational background in law. He went to college. He's traveled a lot of places within the country and outside the country. And but what happened was he had family problems which led to alcohol addiction, and it just turned his life upside down. So when the client came in, the client was mainly interested in housing because he didn't want to stay at the sober house anymore. So our appointments, usually consisted of him coming in. We would talk for a little while, just chat, and then submit an application for housing. But as he started coming in, he started mentioning, I think I want to go back to work, maybe like just a few hours a week. So could we work on my resume? We started working on his resume, which, didn't last too long because he felt overwhelmed and he had other stuff going on at the time. So that was pretty quick. But what it led to was another conversation of, would you like to try certification programs, try schooling, just to do something, get out the house? He was like, yeah, sure. And at the time, did I really think it was going to be success? No, but we still wrote his name for the programs. And in our area, we have Gateway Community College, which offers free certification programs for SNAP recipients. And he's a SNAP recipient. So that was really well. And today, he actually started the program. It's been like a month and a half, and he's working towards his community health worker certification. We're talking about internships. He started volunteering somewhere. He brought up his resume back. So just coaching him, just sitting down and talking with him, even though it was just initial applications for housing, it brought up other conversations. And today he definitely feels that he's at a better place than he was before, and he's very thankful. And I feel like going from there to here has to do a lot with the trainings we've been through with the FOC. So I'm an income sports specialist, but I've attended trainings for, financial coaching, credit building, resume building, employment. So it really helps the case manager, the coach, the individual build themselves within like many areas. And we were able to talk to other FOC coaches during the trainings, get ideas, trade resources. So it was very helpful. So it's, there's a lot of benefit of being with FOC. That's all I have for my part today. So I'm going to pass it on to Megan from Lincoln Financial. Thank you.
Thanks, Zainab. And thank you to Jim and the List Connecticut team for inviting me to today's open house. Congratulations to all on another successful event. I'm Megan Wright, and I'm the National Director of Financial Wellness Programs for Lincoln Financial Foundation. Since its founding in 1905, Lincoln Financial Group knows that good corporate citizenship is intrinsic to our success. The company's spirit of philanthropy led to the establishment of the Lincoln Financial Foundation in 1962. Our mission is to build stronger communities through nonprofit partnerships in education, human services, and financial wellness, with the goal of helping people build secure financial futures. Through our financial wellness portfolio, we seek to build and expand the ability to confidently manage finances and develop career pathways. When thinking of leveraging the impact of our philanthropy, there are 3 strategies that we look for in grantees that are found in the LISC model. The first is data-driven research. Data is critical to measure the impact of any program, including financial empowerment, and LISC shares our passion for data. LISC measures those key indicators that we know improve outcomes in financial stability, like credit building and repair, asset building, debt reduction, and increased earnings. Secondly is a comprehensive approach. There are many factors that contribute to improved financial wellness, including workforce development, one-on-one financial coaching, and access to other resources and support programs. While each of these alone are important, research has consistently shown that the combination of these services together increases overall effectiveness and yields the most impact and long-term effects. And finally, community. Embedding financial opportunity centers enhances the capacity and the capability of well-established organizations that have existing relationships within the community. These organizations are trusted leaders within their neighborhoods, and with the FOCs, they're able to further leverage complementary programs and services, therefore increasing the overall impact on their communities. Lincoln Financial Foundation is a proud supporter of LISC, with 5 LISC locations now in our financial wellness portfolio. We applaud the great work of LISC Connecticut and thank you for including us in today's celebration. And with that, I'll turn it back to our hosts.
Thank you, Megan. And now let us move into the Q&A portion of our event. The first question I have is for Kathryn. How has the FOC model and or the work of the FOC changed over time?
Great. Thanks, Esther. And thanks everyone for joining again. It was really great to hear from all of the wonderful supporters and staff of the Connecticut FOCs. Just on a personal note about my background, I've been at LISC for about 12 years. So I really have the privilege to see the growth of the FOC network, starting from 30 or 40 sites when I first joined LISC, growing now to 130 sites across the country all these years later. And I think, in addition to that, that scaling and that geographic expansion, we have really seen lots of innovations evolve over time with the Financial Opportunity Center work. For example, our increased focus on career pathways, our focus on credit building and asset building, our increased focus on digital skilling and coaching and navigation and digital literacy in the network. And really all of those things, all of those innovations came about because of what we learned from our data and from what we learned from the experiences that our FOC partners were sharing with us. I really see part of our role in the National LISC program as kind of lifting up successful innovations on the ground and helping to kind of scale and cross-pollinate those across our local markets, as my local LISC office colleagues also do with the peer networks of FOCs that they facilitate. And I'll say, I think one of the great things about the FOC model too is its flexibility and adaptability to sort of meet whatever moment we're at and whatever moment our communities are at. I think certainly we saw when the pandemic hit that all of our FOCs were really in all hands on deck mode, just doing whatever needed to be done to help folks adjust to the very sudden economic disruption, help folks access emergency resources, navigate applications for unemployment insurance. And now over, as the pandemic has evolved, we've seen a lot of FOCs get back, focus on helping folks sort of think through what their career pathway should look like, kind of figure out how to sort of reemerge and rebuild their lives and finances. And so, I thank all of our sites for all of the learnings that they share with us, and it's due to all of them that we're able to keep innovating and growing this work.
Thank you. I have a question for Michelle. What do you see your FOC 5 years from now?
I think for our Financial Opportunity Center, we're really looking at workforce development is our next big push. So increasing our increasing employment specialists, so that way we can place more people into jobs, connecting into more workforce training programs to getting people into career pathway employment opportunities. And then, I think on the financial coaching side, really looking at what are the resources, education opportunities people are going to need to, one, just meet this rising cost of inflation, but also, to think about, their true financial mobility and wealth building, right? So if that's home ownership, looking at funding, college for their children, retirement investments, things like that. So really just sort of diving deep into the different pillars of the model and expanding the capacity of those, and a lot of partnership with other organizations, having them come in, bring their skill set to the people we serve.
Thank you. I have a question for the coaches, and we can start with Danara. If there is one thing that you could improve, that could improve your work as a FOC, what would it be?
I think one of the things that could improve our work would be providing more materials for our staff to be able to better serve our clients, like cross-training in career and financial coaching, and easily accessible materials for income support to aid with the benefit screening. Currently, there's a lot of research that goes into finding income limits for eligibility for every benefit offered by our state. I'm not sure what other resources other states offer, but I know that there's been a lot of work and research put into finding the limits.
Thank you. Zanette?
Hello, everyone. So I would say the main thing for us would be just more trainings, because from the beginning, the FOC was very new at our organization. And both me and my supervisor, we were new to the job. So like very limited experience. And from then to now, I feel like there's been a huge difference, because the trainings we've attended, we're able to, talk to other coaches, get more experience, learn more from people who have more experience. I feel like it helped us grow. It gave us more confidence. So more training on, whether it's the income sports, the financial coaching, resume building. I feel like having those would definitely help us serve our clients better and meet their needs.
Thank you. Eddie?
Oh, so thank you. And I'm gonna actually piggyback off what Danira said with materials. That's because I feel that materials, even given to clients, would help them retain better information and would help them even grow more through the coaching process that we offer. And I had a lot of meetings where if someone didn't get material after that, they would be lost the next meeting saying, where did it go? Where are we at? Can you remind me what happened and such? So I think it's really positive and informative that we go ahead and actually think about getting material for clients so that they can also remember, also have curiosity to even learn even after the meeting. Because I know some clients that would get some material and they would be curious to go online and see how they can learn even more about that. And in the next meeting, they're saying stuff that I would even think they would even know or learn before I told them. So it's really awesome to really see that when that happens. So I'm definitely on the road of getting more material to clients.
Thank you. Question for Christina. What is the training / credentials of the financial counselors?
Thanks, Esther. So it varies from site to site. Our LISC national team offers certification trainings for financial coaches and employment coaches. And they're, as I said, this model incorporates a very specific definition of coaching. So it's different from mentoring, counseling. It's a very non-paternalistic, non-prescriptive approach. And through that training, coaches at the local level are allowed the opportunity to connect with coaches across the country. So I also don't know if Kathryn wants to add a little bit about that coach training and sort of how it has evolved over time and what comes out of that.
Sure, thanks, Christina. Just to piggyback on what Christina said, we in National LISC coordinate some trainings that are accessible to coaches. We actually pivoted very substantially when the pandemic started to bringing those into a virtual training environment where they used to be in person. And it involves a lot of content about the basics of coaching, the fundamental principles, some demos and some role playing. I know that there are other certifications and credentials out there on the market about financial content and financial counseling that some of our FOC staff avail themselves of. But generally, because as Christina mentioned, coaching is really client directed. It's not about, telling an individual what to do or giving them advice. It's really about helping them feel empowered and have the confidence to find their own solutions. And for that reason, oftentimes, we find that the most successful financial coaches aren't necessarily ones who are coming in the door with, credentials and financial experience, but folks who can really have that, those relational skills, sort of have that coaching mindset and be able to build trust with the individuals they're working with.
Thank you. So to Jim, Christina, either of you can take this or both. What do you see as the top 2 or 3 priorities going forward to support the FOC site in Connecticut? And are there any program enhancement that will be launched or implemented in the next 9 to 12 months?
I can start and then I'll pass it over to Jim. So in the first year, when we were first implementing this model, there was a big focus on just getting a high level of integrated services at the sites. This model is not easy to implement. It takes a lot of staff buy-in, a lot of leadership buy-in. We worked very closely with the sites on their client flow, identifying their target populations. So it's a heavy lift to implement. Now that we're in our second year, I would say there's sort of 3 key focus areas. The first would be data collection and creating sort of this stronger culture around the collection of data and the use of that for program evaluation and improving the program. That's something that's done on a broad scale at the national level, but to implement that more locally, because some of our sites are new to Salesforce, is a big focus this year. I'd also say supporting the sites in the expansion of their partnerships with other community organizations, with employers, with employment training programs. So the emphasis on partnerships is also big this year as well. And then the third area I'd highlight is, tapping into workforce development initiatives that are happening at the federal level and the state level and the local level. With a lot of the funding coming through post-COVID around workforce development, how to get the FOCs more engaged in the development of employment pipelines in their communities and supporting their clients in succeeding within those. So I'll stop there and see if Jim, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, thanks, Christina. I agree with everything that you said, of course. And I guess I would add too that we're really pleased to finally be getting back to the office and be able to get out in the field. So Christina and Raquasia will be excited to get out and be meeting directly with the sites in person instead of having to do everything online. And when you talked about the workforce development and employment partnerships, that's really critical for us. We see a huge opportunity because there are so many job vacancies in Connecticut. And right now there's often a mismatch of the skills of potential workers and the needs for employers. So to help create that bridge with the FOCs, and using the word bridge, looking to transition some of the financial opportunity centers to what LISC calls bridges to career opportunity sites. And we're looking over the next year or less really to transition 2 or 3 of the sites, maybe 4, to bridges sites that are focused very much on careers for workers, and doing that by partnering with employers like Michelle was describing with Amazon and the hospital locally, but each of the BCOs, Bridges to Career Opportunity sites, would identify a workforce partner or 2, and then work with their employees to, with their clients to engage them, perhaps by getting a credential, a post-secondary credential, so that they can get jobs that pay living wages for the long term. And I see that there was the question in the chat. The second part of that question was the program enhancements. I'd say that's the major one that we're working on right now.
Thank you, Jim. This next question, Christina or Ann Kathryn could answer, and is support provided by LISC when implementing an FOC at a new agency?
Yes, definitely. So how this works in terms of like implementing is LISC will partner with an organization already providing 2 of the 3 core services typically. So the core services are income supports, counseling, employment coaching, and financial coaching. And so through the implementation of this model, LISC provides technical support, capacity building assistance, as well as financial support to flesh out those 3 portions and expand them. And we provide a lot of support to the site. We meet with sites monthly to go over any difficulties they're having implementing the model. We also have quarterly peer network meetings that are statewide, and the topics for those can vary related to client retention, employer engagement, whatever their key issues are during that time. So there's a lot of connections that we make for the organizations with other organizations doing similar work, both at the local and the national level.
Hi, this is Josh. I had a question if I could, because I'm having a little video issue here with my phone here, but I wanted to see if there was like a list of, I don't want to say like a nationwide initiative about reentry. Because as Michelle was mentioning about Amazon and the hospitals, we've been meeting with our employers, our partners, and a conversation that we're having is the untapped potential. Those that may have criminal convictions and things like that, and matching them to different jobs and using their skills so they can get employed. For instance, somebody may had got convicted of a drug offense and want to work in the hospital. Maybe we can't put them in the pharmaceutical department, but maybe they can start in housekeeping. So is there like a nationwide initiative on that? Am I asking it the right way? Because Michelle and I, we talk about this all the time, and very direct, like with presidents and things like that of these organizations. And that was just something I know I couldn't type all that.
I'll let Kathryn take this question.
Sure. So, I think on the advocacy side, I know that there are a lot of kind of advocates and some corporations that have kind of taken the lead in pushing employers to be more expansive about their hiring. And I think sort of at the state level, locally, there's, at least from what I've seen, been an increasing number of kind of ban the box type of initiatives that bar employers from asking straight out about convictions and sort of put stronger requirements on employers to really, sort of consider the nature of someone's criminal background and whether it does actually affect the job or whether they're just sort of using it as an arbitrary barrier. I think from a program perspective, in our national FOC network, we do have some financial opportunity centers that focus specifically on reentry issues and on working with individuals who are recently returned from incarceration. I think more broadly, we see that a number of our FOCs are working with folks who may have barriers because of justice system involvement in their past. Actually, we see in our data nationally that about 30% of FOC clients have some sort of justice system involvement in the past, which is not necessarily incarceration, but some manner of a felony or misdemeanor conviction or justice system involvement. And I think some of that work really also happens on the local and regional level with some of that employer relationship building that financial opportunity centers are doing, really kind of both from the FOC side and the role that advocates play, really sort of pushing employers to be more fair and equitable in their hiring. So I would say, yes, I think there's definitely some national momentum afoot, and then a lot of sort of labor-intensive relationship building that happens at the local level to find those types of employers, and also to, I think, encourage employers to speak out about reentry issues as well. I think we've seen in our network sometimes some of the best ambassadors or champions are fellow employers that can say to their peer employers, hey, these are the changes that we made in our hiring practices, and this is the impact it had. And sometimes it's a lot more meaningful coming from another employer than maybe from a nonprofit partner.
Thank you, Kathryn. Question for, this might be for Jim or Christina. We talked about data points, about network impact. Will we publish an impact report or a cross-site report?
We definitely can. Now that we have so last year, like I said, not all of the sites were in Salesforce. This year, of the 6 sites that we have, 4 of them are new to Salesforce as of January. So hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have the data to include in some type of annual impact report. And maybe that is something that we could do year over year. And I see Michelle Condarino from Open Doors highlighted that their impact report related to the FOC. So we'd love to see that as well. And Kathryn, I don't know if there's any reports on the national level that you want to take a minute to highlight, or maybe drop the link in the chat too.
Sure, I can. I'll share links in the chat shortly. We have some research reports that were conducted by outside evaluators at various points in the growth and evolution of our FOC network. And then we also, have some kind of summary, high-level data of recent impacts, like annual impacts, and I can share those in the chat as well. And this would be for the entire 130 site network.
Thank you. Would anyone care to comment on an uptick in challenges by people over age 55 trying to re-enter the workforce? Has there been any notice of this trend by others?
I was just going to ask you, Josh, if you would mind. So this is not Maria Davis. This is actually Josh Brown, who is the employment specialist at Open Doors FOC.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, some of the complications that I'm seeing, one is that I mentioned, say, for instance, those are coming from the prison system that are just now returned. And I had a guy actually about 59 years old. We were able to get him employed at Amazon. And one of the issues that we were running into was that he owed some child support, and that's what he was going back and forth to jail for. And that is actually one of the reasons why I was talking about the reentry piece. So that's one of the challenges that I'm seeing is a record.
Thank you for sharing that. We have another question for coaches, and we can start with Eddie. How has the adaption of Salesforce impacted your collection and use of client data for program evaluation?
I feel like Salesforce has actually been important for us in general with client information gathering, just because I felt like before we're kind of struggling to see, do you see this person? Do you see this person? That we forget like who do you even saw. So I felt like just having Salesforce in general, just to kind of gather that information, has been a huge plus to us. And now we're more able to see how we can help clients even more and kind of share what we even went through in different meetings overall through Salesforce. So it's been a real blessing. And also it has been really, I say more faster in general, especially when we just went through word of mouth. Now we just look on Salesforce, see a task, see updates, see anything in general when you go to a case record. So it's actually been pretty helpful for us.
If I can just piggyback on what Eddie is saying too, and I'm pretty sure Maria can attest to this, and Yolanda, Salesforce has been very beneficial. As Eddie was saying, we're able to see everything that we're all doing. So, especially when we're all three working with a client, and that is really our goal with every client that comes in, that comes to Maria, that does an intake, to see me and Eddie. So we're not trying to make it mandatory, but Salesforce has just been very beneficial because we can see what we're all doing.
Thank you. Danara?
I would say that data tracking for this program has been helpful in helping us identify certain characteristics from the individuals and families that we work with, such as household income, composition, household member details, So the adoption of the Salesforce for program evaluation has been helpful because it helps us identify the needs of our clients, their strengths and weaknesses, as well as keep track of the progress that they make. So we use our data to tell the story of our work so that we can make decisions about everything from the coaching approach to general service delivery. And that also helps us to keep our finger on the pulse regarding progress towards our outcomes.
Sorry, struggling to unmute. Thank you. And finally, Zanette.
So I agree that it definitely helps us like track clients and you know, I could go in and see what my supervisor did and we're able to, you know, put updates. But along with that, once we pull our data, we're able to see like, you know, if the number of employment contacts went down or the number of snaps we've completed or the clients we followed up with. So it helps us as a FOC to pinpoint those and we're able to discuss, you know, why did it go down? What could we do to increase it or what are we missing? Or if, you know, we complete a SNAP application, but we're not updating the approvals. It's like, okay, so we need to change our method of getting the update from the client. So it helps us improve our FOC and our work.
Awesome. Thank you. That was our final question for today. We do have a survey link. So if that Christina just dropped in the chat, so if you could complete our survey, we'd really appreciate it. And I'm gonna pass it over to Jim to close us out. Thank you.
Thanks, Esther, and thanks everybody for attending today. We really appreciate the great questions and ideas that you had, so thanks so much for that. I want to thank TD Bank as the sponsor for this event today. We appreciate their support, and truly this program is remarkable because we have a lot of financial institutions and others who have provided support for this effort over the past year and a half, and we couldn't do it without all of you. So I want to thank Citi, the United Way of Greater Waterbury, the Wells Fargo Foundation, Fairfield County's Community Foundation, Capital One, United Way of Central and Northeastern Connecticut, an anonymous donor, the Lincoln Financial Foundation, American Savings Foundation, Community Foundation for Greater New Britain, the Bank of America Charitable Foundation, Connecticut Community Foundation, Citizens Bank, Webster Bank, the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, and Ion Bank Foundation. So that's a mouthful, but we're really so pleased and fortunate to have the support from so many different funders. I want to thank the speakers today. It was really terrific to hear the stories of your clients and your perspective on how it's working at the local level and the ideas that we had about how we can help to strengthen your work going forward. I also really want to thank our LISC staff, which is tremendous. Christina Della Ventura, our program officer for Financial Opportunity Centers, is just doing an amazing job. And Raquasia Smith, who recently joined our staff as Assistant Program Officer. We're really pleased to have her on board. And I'll thank too for Hannah Arif, who is no longer with us, but to help to get the FOC started and did a really remarkable job with that. And then Esther Jean-Marie, who has helped with not only putting together this event, but helping with the funding and publicity for all of the work that we do. So thank you again, everybody, for joining. We hope that you learned a lot today. We certainly learned from you and appreciate the partnership that we have with your organizations and with you individually. Take care, everybody.